Hey, everybody. So, the 2022 college football season is rapidly approaching, and it is time for me to do my picks for Georgia Tech's schedule this year and what I think our record is going to be. And I'll talk about, each game, how my Jackets stack up against them, and if I think we're going to win or not, what I think our record will be. So, I'll start this, I guess, by saying, well, I did this once last year. I predicted us to win 6 games, and we all know how that went down. We won 3 games for the third time in a row, and it was disappointing. Do I regret or think I was foolish for picking 6 games? I don't at all. I think that team could have won 6 games. I think that it was the talent level I was not mistaken on. I knew how good we were. I knew that, even with our tough schedule, a bowl game should have been right about where we were at with the talent that we had. We just weren't able to execute, I guess. It all comes down to coaching. The talent was there. We had the players, and it is what it is, and it really comes down to coaching. And all those players are gone now. So we have done some work in the portal. And, of course, we have some exciting recruits coming up. Our talent level compared to last year is, in my opinion, not drastically worse. We are missing Jahmyr Gibbs, which hurts and it sucks. But in a couple areas, I think on our roster, our roster's looking better this year. So, for example, our quarterback, of some position groups that look better than last year, quarterback room, we have 2 quarterback transfers in behind Jeff Sims now that look a lot better. Offensive line, we have some promising up-and-coming recruits, plus a couple, former 4-star transfers that couldn't make it at Clemson, Alabama. Some position groups that maybe are the same, in my opinion. Maybe wide receivers, we lost a couple of them. But, we're still looking to have a decent squad. Namely, Leo Blackburn, I'm looking forward to. He was a freshman last year that got injured, so maybe we see some more from him. I'm pretty excited on him. What might look the same, maybe our secondary. Our secondary was terrible last year, and there's nothing I've seen that really is more promising this year. It's not like we can get much worse, but I haven't really seen much that makes me think that we're going to be any better in that regard. So that'll probably be the same. And as for some position groups that are worse off this year, running back, obviously, we had a pretty stacked running back room last year. Although I don't think our running back room is going to be terrible. It'll probably be closer to average, than it was last year. Last year it was exceptional. And then worse off also is our defensive line, which, now that I think of it, our defensive line wasn't even. It's not like we were putting up crazy sack numbers in the first place on the defensive line last year, but we did lose a few starters, so that is concerning. So we'll have to see about that. Anyways, moving on to the schedule. I can't think of a better freaking way to start the season than against a top 5 team. Can you? We started out against Clemson. This might be tough. Pretty much guaranteed loss. I don't think anybody's picking us to win. The only thing I can say about this Clemson game is, it was close last year. And a lot of people, including myself, are anticipating Clemson to be much better this year than they were last year. Although it is possible that they might look similar to, last year. And if that's the case, then, who's to say we can't win this game? It is in the bins, and in my opinion, we have more of an advantage in the bins than at home. Just look at, for example, last year's game against North Carolina in the bins. We really got turned up in that game, and we blew out North Carolina. So who knows? Maybe our team likes playing in the bins, and maybe we can pull it off. I'm not going to pick us to. I think Clemson will be much better this year, and even if they were as bad as they were last year, they still beat us. So, I just don't see it. So, moving on. Western Carolina Catamounts. This is pretty much the NIU of the schedule. If we lose this game, then I'd probably freak out. I mean, we lost NIU last year. This is like the game I was looking to in the preseason. I was like, it'll be no problem. We'll beat them no problem. And then the week 1 happened, as you all remember. So then again, NIU did go on to win their conference, and we lost to them by 1 point. I don't think Western Carolina is that good anyway, and I'm not going to pick us to lose to them. So, I mean, that would be so freaking funny if we lost to them, though, wouldn't it? Anyway, moving on. Next is an interesting game. We get Ole Miss at home, which this is interesting. I mean, we're not going to win. This is a for sure loss. Ole Miss is like a top 15 team in the country, and their insane high-powered offense, we're not going to be able to keep up with that. Our secondary gets toasted. It's still a weak spot. Even if it is improved from last year, it's still a weak spot on our team. There's not a lot of teams in the country that could beat Ole Miss, in my opinion, and the fact that we get them at home doesn't sway me whatsoever. This is a for sure loss. I'm definitely not gonna pick us to beat Ole Miss. Although it is pretty interesting that Lane Kiffin and them. I'm gonna go to this game. It's gonna be cool to watch, Lane Kiffin and his offense in person. So that's a pretty interesting opportunity coming to my hometown. So I'm gonna be checking that out for sure. Pretty cool matchup, but unfortunately Georgia Tech right now just not on the same level as Ole Miss. Next is UCF, who actually had a bit of a fall off last year in Gus Malzahn's first year there. Even in a freaking year that was a little bit of a downfall for them, they went 9-4. They're one of the better Group of 5 teams. They're nothing to be messed with, and my freaking Jackham's got to take them on. And guess what? They whip our freaking ass every time they play us in the past few years, and it sucks. Do I think it's going to be any better than this year? No. We're going to lose to UCF. And guess what? It's not even a home game. We got to go to UCF. The bounce house, they got more fans than us. It's going to suck. This sucks. This is not fun for me to do. UCF, they're going to be better this year. They have a good transfer portal class, a bit of an underrated one at that, and they're probably going to be in the top tier of a Group of 5 teams, and they're going to beat us, and it's going to suck. I'm not enjoying myself doing this here. And notice I'm not as bright-eyed and bushy-tailed as I was last year. I had my hopes quickly dashed last year. So forgive me if I'm a bit jaded and downtrodden. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to be watching all these games like an idiot, yelling and freaking out, thinking that we're, have a chance or something. And I just want to get through this year. Moving on. Next up is Pitt. This one's kind of interesting. A lot of people think, oh my God, there's no freaking way Georgia Tech can win this game. It's Pitt, they're so good. I'm like, okay, let's calm down. Does anyone remember what Pitt was before, this past year when they had this amazing year, won the ACC, and blah, 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 blah? Well, they weren't very good. They were like this middling 7-5 team. They're nothing really impressive, okay? And as much as I love us to pick us to win this game, I'm going to not do that. I did really have a good time for a while there, talking a lot of shit to these guys. And unfortunately, this was one of those times when I got smacked down. Was last year when we played Pitt, and I could see this. I could see us winning this game. Haha, I know. Well, I get that Pitt's a freaking popular team, but it seems like everybody's going to forget what they've been their entire history up until last year. Not that good, okay? Not that freaking good. They're like 7-5 or 8-4 or something, and they lose these head-scratching games such as to Georgia Tech at home. So don't go thinking like Pitt's some kind of good-ass team that's going to just easily dominate us. I'll pick us to lose, but okay, it's possible. All right, next is Duke, and oh, thank God for Duke. I know that no matter how bad my freaking Jackets are, we can still get an easy ACC win and not be the worst team in the Coastal or in the conference for that matter, and get a nice win at Duke. And it just so happens for me that they have a first-year head coach this year, and this game was a freaking nail-biter, instant classic last year, and Georgia Tech won at the last second. Oh my God, does anybody remember that? It was just amazing. As bad as that is to almost lose to Duke last year, I think we'll handle Duke no problem, and we won't be the worst team in the ACC. Moving on to our bye week, and then we have Virginia coming out of that. So usually you kind of look at the bye week and you're like, okay, so we're coming out and, we might have some kind of advantage on this team. Well, I was looking at ESPN's FPI for this or whatever. They had this game at about 50-50. I don't think so. This is a matchup that is so disproportionate, and I've seen people even talk about this game and doing predictions, and people seem to forget Virginia was blowing us out last year until we converted 2 onside kicks in a row in the last couple minutes and came back. And yes, almost won. And is there more? That's among the most heartbreaking ways to lose a game is to come back and convert 2 onside kicks in a row and almost freaking come back. But yeah, they were blowing us out last year. Before we did that by 3 scores, and we wound up losing only by 1 score. But anyway, this is because Virginia Tech has a very high-powered offense. I think this is a huge mismatch, especially against Georgia Tech's secondary, who just can't hang with offenses like that. And listen, a lot of people are down. I'm a little higher on Virginia than most people. Not like I'm saying they're going to win 10 games or something, but I think they could win 7 or 8, maybe. I think 7 is about where I put them. They're going to be all right. And I know it's first year for Tony Elliott, but Tony Elliott has shown in the past that, well, when he has offensive weapons, he can put together pretty damn good offense. And guess what he has? He has Brennan Armstrong coming back this year, and his top targets coming back at wide receiver too. And so Brennan Armstrong, they get this amazing offense back. And I know their offensive line's terrible, but that didn't stop them from freaking throwing all over us last year. It's not like our defensive line is that good anyway to take advantage of that weakness. So I think this is a big mismatch. Even with the bye week, I think we lose to Virginia. Unfortunately, I just don't think so. I think we have more of a chance against Virginia Tech, which we'll get to in a little bit. Next is Florida State, a pretty interesting game because, well, we freaking have had no problem with Florida State the past few times we played them. We've really had no problem at all beating up on Florida State. And they've been down. Obviously, they're not as good as they used to be. And they're still kind of trying to get to that. They couldn't get bowl eligible last year. They're still trying to get up to this level where they want to be to 8 wins or something. I think they could do it this year. I think this could be a breakthrough year for Florida State. So this is an away game. And to be honest, I think Mike Norvell has a better chance. And to be honest, I think Mike Norvell has his team on a better trajectory than Jeff Collins does Georgia Tech. Now, is it possible Florida State sucks again this year? Yeah, and they're about a 5-7 win team. Yeah, even so, I think Florida State could have beat us last year. And as for this year, I'm not so sure. I got to give it to Florida State. It is a game for them. It's an away game for us. And Florida State, I just think, is in a better place. I think they're probably the best team in Florida right now. So I just don't think my Jackets can get it done in Tallahassee, but who knows? Maybe this is one of those games that are a little bit closer than we think. So speaking of games that are going to be pretty close, I think this Virginia Tech game, now I know I said this last year too, and I said that Virginia Tech was going to suck, and they did, but they somehow freaking got to a bowl because all these other ACC teams cannot freaking get it together. And Virginia Tech was bad last year. And they probably won't be that good this year. They got Brent Pry coming in, first-year head coach, taking over. He was the defensive coordinator for Penn State. I'm not going to act like I freaking know who this dude is or ever heard of him before. But, Virginia Tech, this is going to be closer to a 50-50 game, in my opinion. This is going to be one of the more winnable games, I think, on our schedule. And you know what? I think we can beat Virginia Tech. I think we can win this game. And I know I said this last year, got burned, but it was a close game last year. They weren't that good. But look, they got a first-year head coach this year. There's got to be, you have Fuente in there doing a terrible job for 5-6 years. This will probably take, a while to get turned around here at Virginia Tech and get them to where they want to be. Of course, it was better than us last year. But I do think we can beat Virginia Tech this year. So, hey, we're at 3 wins. We're at the Collins trademark freaking mark. 3 wins. Isn't that great? Okay, next is Miami. Now, everybody knows how I feel about Miami. I think that they're going to be not that good this year. I think that they're pretty overrated, and they could lose any given game in the ACC because Miami, well, it's the first year for Mario Cristobal, and they're just not going to be – they're just not, okay? I mean, I don't know what to tell you freaking crazy people all over the internet. Miami's going to win like 7 games this year, and people are going to be shocked. People are going to be mind blown that this happened again for the first time, for the 100th time in the past decade. They suck, and they're gonna suck this year too, man. I don't know what to tell you. Miami, man, they just suck. They're okay. Look, Mario Cristobal was a great hire. I think in the long run they will be good. Just not this year. People think that they're like, oh my God, he's gonna come in here and win the freaking Coastal and all this. Man, no, dude. He's got to take some time to get his guys in there. There is some kind of period of rebuilding. They're not gonna win the Coastal in their first year. It's just not gonna happen. I'm not high on Miami at all. I'm low on them. And guess what? I was last year too, and everybody called me a freaking idiot. Because they were like, oh my God, Miami's going to be so good. I was like, hell no. Everybody had Miami going 11 or whatever and freaking winning the ACC last year or being in the title game. And I was like, what? And they won, and I predicted them to go 8-4. And people call me an idiot and stupid and I didn't know what I was talking about and I was a hater. Well, guess what? They went 7-5. I overrated them. But I didn't overrate them as much as everybody else. You know what? We're going to beat Miami. We're going to beat Miami this year. That's right. We're going to freaking beat those turds. And I got a bet with Pinecone for $100 just as we do. We're going to beat Miami. It's happening. Come on. We're beating them at home. It's happening. Okay. Back on track now. We got this game against North Carolina, and of course we all know what happened with them last year. We blew them out in the bins, and they were this team where they would win a game once, lose a game, win a game, lose a game. We caught them in a week that they were in lose mode, and we took advantage of it surely, and we got one over on them and freaking got the win. So I was pretty stoked about that. I think North Carolina is going to be much better this year. They got this new hotshot quarterback in there. They got some guys coming back. This is kind of I think this year could be kind of what we thought they might be last year. And I think that they're my pick to win the Coastal. I think it'll be them or maybe Pitt to win the Coastal. So I'm going to pick us to lose this game against North Carolina here. And it's going to suck. Because I sure would love to beat them, and there is a possibility that there's some kind of wishy-washy team again this year, but I don't think so. I'm a little bit higher on them. I think we lose that game. And then, what do we got? Some freaking scrub, easy mop-up win at the end of the year against Georgia. Yeah, those guys suck. It's going to be no problem for my Jackets to take them down. So, there you have it. I got us winning 4 freaking games. And a couple of these are toss-ups. As far as best case, worst case scenario. I think I'll do a video on that too. I think I'll do a video on the worst case scenario, which could be 0 wins. That'd be crazy, wouldn't it? But, and I'll do a video on the worst case, or the best case scenario because, well, we do have a pretty good roster. We got some new coaches in there. Look, in areas that we did upgrade, coaching staff is one of them. Not in every position. It's kind of like the roster itself. The areas that, there's some areas that we're worse off on the coaching staff, and there's some areas that we actually are better, and one of those is huge for me is offensive coordinator. And as far as defense, well, don't even get me freaking started on the defense because Coach Collins fired or demoted our defensive coordinator last year who had us, the worst ranked, passing defense in the freaking country. And he's demoted him or something, but kept him on the staff. And supposedly Jeff Collins is going to be taking more of a hands-on role in the defense. So we'll see about that. I could freaking freak out about that in another video of the way this freaking staff is mismanaging everything. But I won't do that in this video. This is a schedule prediction video. I got us going 4-10. Maybe that's a bit overrated for what a lot of people think. I'm not as low on my Jackets as everybody else is, I guess. Everybody thinks we're going to be going 2-10, which is possible, I think. Well, call me crazy. I'm a freaking Georgia Tech idiot homer. I think we'll win 4 games this year, at least, maybe. And hopefully we get rid of freaking bum-ass Jeff Collins in the process. So, go Jackets, and I'll see you guys next time.